Hello, and welcome to the Women's Football
Hello.
Review. And what a week it is. We have got the awesome, the sassy, the Man City supporting Samara
Oh, yeah.
back in the house.
You need to
How you
redo
feeling?
it because you say the Premier League champion.
No one cares, Samara. No one cares. We're talking about women's football. Oh, City won that
The
as well.
Champions
Oh, no,
League.
Chelsea did.
The
What am I talking
Champions
about?
League placeholder.
Well, you can talk about that later. But for now, first of all, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing so much better. I think I burned myself out
It's good to have you
completely.
back,
Yes,
rested,
I'm glad to be back.
relaxed, and ready. So, so today we're going to do a bit of a review of the season. We're going to cover what's happened, who's won what. We're going to talk about what Samara's eaten, whether it's tasty. We'll obviously talk a little bit about the odd pie here and there, but the main thing is to review the women's season as it's happened and look forward to what's coming up with women's football and what can happen now that we're entering the new season. So I'm going to hand over to Samara, who's going to run us through some of the big news of the season that's just finished.
That sounded so professional as well. I just want to say.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Can I just say something quite funny that I've just realised? Past few weeks, every stream I've done, I've not been able to get my. I've thought that my earphones don't work and they're doing something to my laptop, and I just realised just before I came onto this that there was actually nothing wrong with my earphones or my laptop. I actually had the main volume on mute for weeks. I have just been doing
Wow.
this without my earphones, without a microphone. So it's been all echoey, and it's because the volume was on mute and I didn't realize.
Oh my goodness.
But hey, ready for you now, you're back.
Yes, and thank you, Steffi, for that nice comment. So the WSL, let's start with there. Oh my god, everything's just fell on me. It's okay. So
Center
Chelsea,
yourself.
obviously, I,
Find your center.
I'm nervous.
Oh, there's nothing to be nervous of. It's just me and you and Steffi.
It's true.
Yeah.
We love you. So Chelsea won their 6th title. They are absolutely incredible. I do have to say, and Emma Hayes, I will literally take my hat off to her. I think she is the most incredible manager. So they won their 6th title with Arsenal and Manchester City securing the Champions League spots. For Manchester City, it's been a very difficult season. They started off with a lot of injuries, specifically Steph Horton, who is now still injured. And we obviously talked a few weeks ago about the fact that she's now been replaced as England captain due to this ongoing injury. But Manchester City managed to turn the whole season around and gain that 3rd place ahead of Manchester United, which was brilliant. And Arsenal, obviously, it was a tight battle between them and Chelsea. But Chelsea, I think Arsenal started off strongly and then weakened, whereas Chelsea started off strongly but in like second gear, and they just got better and better and better and better. And I think they are the team to beat every single season. And Sam Kerr was the top scorer in the WSL with 20 goals. And then unfortunately, Birmingham ended up relegated from the WSL. And I just want to talk about Manchester City women for the minute. So this week we have lost. This week and last week, Georgia Stanway has left and gone to Bayern Munich. Caroline Weir has announced she's leaving, and Lucy Bronze is also leaving. What is going on? I do not know. There are rumours all over Twitter that it is actually something to do with the manager. If so, they've kept that very under wraps because they've managed to secure Champions League and win the Conti Cup. So, and obviously losing narrowly to Chelsea in the FA Cup. But it is
Do you
just
know
very,
much
very
about
strange.
manager relations? I mean, they were doing so
Nothing comes
well.
out
I'm
of that.
quite surprised. I was going to ask what is the
Yeah,
reason
nothing
then the
comes
matter
out.
considers.
No, nothing comes out of that camp, Manchester City women at all. And Gareth Taylor's an incredible man. Like you said, they've turned the whole season around. That looks like a
Yeah.
team that's close knit and united, but they've literally lost. And we were looking at me and my mum because my mum was like, "Oh, how old are they?" Caroline Weir is 26 and George Stanway's only 23 and Lucy Bronze is only young. So there's not even like they're older players. We're losing players that haven't even hit the peak yet, and that's like three of your best players are all leaving the same window,
I
and
mean,
that's quite worrying.
Could it be that European women's football is, because it's bigger, it's offering them a greater opportunity and a bigger platform to be seen, to be appreciated in a different way? Because it's still, as we know, women's football here still hasn't quite got the kudos that perhaps it deserves.
That's what I thought, especially when Georgia Stanway announced she was going to Bayern Munich. I said to my mum, it will be the pull of playing to the bigger crowds, and the pay is most likely better because women's football is not equal, but it stands a lot more strongly and it stands a lot more equally against the men's football. And I think that's what it is, because they're seeing female players from other countries, and they're seeing, I think, sometimes like the respect levels and the way that they are talked about. And I think they're going, I wouldn't say for the quality of football, because I think English women's football is very good quality, but I think, like you said, it will have a lot to do with pay, with stadiums, with atmosphere, with probably feeling like you are respected and admired more, because I think that will be quite important to them.
And we've seen the record-breaking crowds as well in Europe.
Yeah. And it's the pull to play in front of the record-breaking crowds. You want that, especially as a female player. They're probably thinking, I'm not going to get that here, because it has got better, but it's a long way off what you get at a Barcelona game.
Definitely. There's still a long way to go. And I think, that's, as a player, I'd imagine you want to reach the top. There's probably at present, there's probably only so far you can go in the English game. And international football, it appears, seems to offer more. There's still, all the squabbling and the disrespect that's chucked at women's football in the UK. It's ongoing, and it can be, I'd imagine it can't be very pleasant being a player and be hearing day in, day out, you're not as good. Can you do this? Can you do that? They can't do this. So if you can go somewhere where there's a bigger respect for it, a bigger pool, a bigger crowd, better pay, you get to play at the main stadiums, you're going to go without a doubt. Can I just very quickly just say hello to everyone who has wished us a good evening and a hello. So hello everybody, thank you for tuning in.
And I agree with Brush's comment, like Vivienne Miedemar, she's got, I just want to talk about this statue. Like, this is incredible. I want to go and it's outside the Emirates, and I think that is just like, that is a big deal, because they've not shoved her somewhere else. They have put her where she belongs to be, outside the main stadium. But I agree, like, that is difficult, because she deserves to be playing in Champions League finals. And she might do, because Arsenal might get there. But it is, I think with women's football, they have to make that decision. Like you said, Maria, do they go with the pull, or do they keep digging and digging and digging away here? And I think it'll depend. It depends on the person, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite hard. We see it in men's football as well. You can either stick with the team that has nurtured you and you've been with for a long time, and you're happy to keep going because you want to see that team succeed, or you look at your own development and where you can go. And if you haven't got like an attachment in terms of you're not local, or that kind of attachment, to be honest, you're more likely to be lured away by, as we said, bigger stadiums, more pay, better quality football, a high level of football. And I do think there is still a gap between the football that's being played in the UK by women and football that's being played in Europe. And that's not to say that there aren't some world-class female footballers in England. There absolutely are. But because of the lack of investment in women's football, it means that you're not getting, if we compare it to men's teams, you're not getting a complete team of 11 world-class women. It's not happening, and it's because of a lack of investment. There's obviously, there's not obviously as many teams as in the Prem, but there's only a certain amount of teams in the Super League that you can go to. And we even know that between the Super League, the top and the bottom, the gap is huge. So you're limited in what you can do. And that does mean that we will continually lose the best female players because there's something better for them elsewhere. And until something is done to improve that, it's going to keep happening.
And I think it's highlighted so much in Manchester City. You've lost there 3 of your best players.
Yeah.
And it might be nothing that's going wrong because they seem happy. They seem, there's been no, for what we know, it's been nice. They've just left, they've come to the end of the contract. They've chosen not to renew. And you can see that there is this pull because they want what they deserve. And I think they obviously know they don't want to wait for it, especially being 26 and 23. You want to be playing, you want to be at the best level that you can be. And I agree with Rich, women's football is more appreciated because I watched the Champions League final and there was so many men and women there, but especially men, like male fans. There was loads.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It is a shame because I think we'll see this more, like City losing the 3 of their best players. I think as the football and women's football in Europe is continuing to develop, even though it's higher than where it is in England, it's continuing to develop. And I think as we stay behind, it's going to happen to more and more teams. Like Nikita Paris, she left City, she went to Lyon. It didn't work out. She's come back to Arsenal now.
Yeah.
And
it's happening across the board with women's football. I was speaking to someone from a women's football team. I won't say who, but they were saying that they as a team have reached a certain level now where the current players have been outgrown by the team's success. And in order for them to carry on that pathway, they need to get higher level players in. And so players leave a lot. And with women's teams, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well, there is quite a lot of turnover. They do leave a lot. At the end of the season, you're not guaranteed to have the same squad as you had the previous season. So there's a high turnover. And what I was told was that because this particular team has reached a certain level now, they need investment to buy higher level players.
And this is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and they need investment in their training facilities so that they can train at a professional level where they bring in professional female football players who do it as their main job. So they have to be training in the daytime. And unfortunately, the investment isn't there. The facilities aren't there. So it means that team, and this happens to loads of teams, it means that the teams then get stuck at a certain level.
Yeah.
And then that causes a problem because then we see those issues, then we see those things that come up on Twitter and the joke memes where they show, I don't know, there's been one doing the rounds this week where female football player goes to basically, I think either to shoot a penalty and just completely miskicks the ball. And do you know what? Happens all the time in football. But there's been this whole joke over this is why, and why should women be demanding equal pay in football? Why should women be demanding this? Why should women be demanding that when they can't play? But the problem
Yeah,
isn't that women can't play football, it's that there's a complete lack of investment in football.
yeah. And it is a shame because, like you said, like these three players are playing in one of the best women's Super League teams, but it's not. They know that they deserve to be playing at a higher level, and I don't blame them for not wanting to wait around. But as a fan, it's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they're all like Caroline Weir. Everyone who watches women's football knows who Caroline Weir is,
Mm.
and everyone went, "Where's she going?" She's not even
Mm.
said where she's going. She's just going.
Yeah, I saw that. She just said she's going. There's no
She's
no
going.
where it's going. And that, I think
Yeah,
that's
and
another issue because it puts people, it's inconsistent. You're like, well, I want to see the team I was watching last year. Why am I watching a
yeah,
completely new team? Or where's my favourite player gone? And, obviously, all teams, you lose your big players at some point, or you'll lose players at some point. But that kind of mass exodus, it it's disheartening, and it does make you think,
yeah.
well, is it really worth investing my time in an effort in going to watch this team if I've got no idea if their performance is going to match their current performance because they've got a completely new team on board? And it isn't just to do with the quality of your players, it's embedding your new players into your team and getting them to play how you want them to play. So
Yeah.
it's almost like starting afresh every season, and it's harsh and it's hard. So I think there's huge issues over
Yeah.
investment and really getting the level up. It's not that it doesn't exist, but there just isn't that investment there to help it happen.
And like you said, because the level isn't going up because the investment's not coming in, then we're not going to attract players from your Barcelona, your Leon. They're not going to want to come and play here
Yeah,
because
yeah,
to them, they'll be like, that's actually a step down. Like I remember in the Arnold Clark Cup, um, some of the other players from different countries said, we were shocked. We were shocked that there was only so many thousand fans. We expected full
yeah.
stadiums.
Mm,
And they like some of them I think are unhappy about the stadiums that have been chosen for the
that's
Euros
right.
because they're like,
Yeah,
why are we playing in the smaller stadiums? Because where they play, they don't need to play in the smaller stadiums
yeah,
because the appreciation is there. So then the investment was there, then the fans come in, then the money goes. And it is you can see it because they're like, well, I don't want to play at Man. Like there's some games at Man City Academy, and I know teams that are playing there have been like, why are we playing at the academy?
yeah,
And because it's so different here, and it's just it's crazy. And I think I'm hoping that the Euros really, really highlights how incredible women's football is, and I
yeah.
hope
I
that the
really think so.
Lionesses get far because I think because there's no other football,
Mm.
I
It's
think
definitely
people will
pulling the
go,
audiences.
yeah, and I think people will go, oh, I'll just stick it on.
Yeah, I think it's how what we do with it after that, so that it isn't just, there needs to be a legacy of the women's Euros, a bit like
Yeah,
when we had the Olympics, and they didn't want it to be right. We've got this big event. We're going to celebrate all these sports for whatever it is. Is it 4 weeks? I can't remember how long the Olympics goes on for. And then that's it. Then we're going to forget it. But a lot of investment and time was put into developing the facilities, getting people more interested in those sports, and really celebrating different things that we might not even heard of before. Like that horse riding thing where they're doing like horse dancing or whatever it is.
do you mean dressage?
Yes, horse dancing. That's
Oh
what I
my
call it.
god.
Horse
Oh,
dancing. What's wrong with that?
no, but you
Notice
are
how I'm
right.
trying to
People,
style that out. But things like that where people had never heard of it or didn't know what it was, and then suddenly everyone knows, and you gain more fans. I mean, that's not the best example, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure dressage got loads of fans off the back of it, but after the Olympics, people wanted to go out and play and watch more
yeah,
sport. And so I'm hoping that that same effort and energy is put into the women's Euros. And I think it is because it feels like it is. And there's been a lot of advertising around it. But I'd love to see people going, oh, women's football is brilliant. I'm going to go and watch women's football next season as
yeah,
well. And that's what we want to happen. And hopefully that's what's going to happen. And I really hope it's not going to be treated like a bit of a just a bit of fun. Oh, it's a bit of a fun
Yeah,
tournament.
I'm
We're going to
hoping
watch
it's
it
not
because nothing else on.
yeah. I'm hoping it's not oh look, we do support women doing whatever they want to do, and then when
And then
it's
we never
over, we're
talk
like,
about it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Lyon versus Barcelona was packed. The first thing I said when I turned it on was, that is incredible. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
And
It
that's
was,
what we hope we'll see
yeah,
at the Euros. That kind of packed atmosphere where everyone is behind it and excited and so on.
yeah.
So hopefully that's what we're going to see. I've not actually, I think a few weeks ago I had a look at what sales were looking like on the Euros, but I haven't looked recently. It'd be quite
I think
interesting to
there's
see.
quite a few that are sold out, I think.
Yeah, I think definitely the opener is. And I think the fight you can buy, you can buy the matches where you don't know what's gonna happening, where you don't know which teams are going to be playing. And I think a
I
lot of
want
the
to go to
England
the
games
quarter
now.
final.
It'd be great to go to some of them and
Yeah.
see what it's like. I think footballing looks too much about the money. Yeah, rather than the game and what it offers
Yeah.
young people. And that's the problem. We're never going to be able to move on if we're just going to be looking at the money and big sponsorship and whatever. It's that chicken and egg thing. You
Yeah.
either invest in it and get people to go along and enjoy it. And again, we've said it before, people need to see it as it's not men's football, it's women's football. Just like when we
Yeah.
talk about tennis, when we talk about tennis, we quite openly say men's tennis, women's tennis. When we talk about Wimbledon, people talk about the men's final, the women's final, and you don't bat an eyelid over it.
In
We
the
know,
same regard, yeah.
same regard.
Yeah.
It's tennis, it's a men's game, a women's game, and they obviously have the mixed games and whatever. And we want that to happen with football, and it's going to take time. There's no ifs or buts about it. Of course, it's going to take time, but people need to see it as bit different to men's football, but it is football it is football. And we need to understand that, and they need to stop comparing. You can't keep going,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's slower, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. We know that there are differences, but we also know that there are physical differences between men and women. So it's a different kind of
Exactly.
game. People don't expect to go and watch women's tennis and expect the same thing to be happening as in men's tennis. It's different. And I think it's important that people understand that. And until people get over that and stop comparing it and being silly, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
No, and I think that like that is really, really important, because it's not, I think people say, "Oh, but you want people to watch it, blah 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 blah. So why do you want it to be different?" And I think it's understanding that it's still football, but it's different. But it's not different as in one's better and one's worse. It's different as in it's men and it's women.
Yeah.
And
There's
you need
there's
to
a respect for
lose that
women's boxing
comparison.
now. Exactly. Exactly. There's no point in comparing them. And I think there's
No.
boxing is a big one. People I think have come to respect women's boxing. And again, you're seeing it as women's boxing and men's boxing, and there's going to be differences. And that's what we need with football. But I think the issue is that football is such a huge, huge sport. And the
Yeah.
culture, the history behind it is so ingrained in it being a men's pastime. And actually, you could say that for boxing as well. So I think the fact that women's boxing is seen as is seen as an accepted thing now. We want to go down that route with
Yeah,
women's
definitely.
football.
And it's like we're saying about the men's and the women's teams, we want them to be one team unit. Like Man City, the women play at the academy. They're part of Manchester City,
Yeah,
but they are still on their own. They are the women's team,
yeah,
but they are. So when we do they've had Gareth Taylor on stage with the Conti Cup,
mm,
because it was a Manchester City trophy parade,
yeah,
but then there was separate section for the women, so they were whole, but they stood on their own, and that's what we need to
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was really pleased to see that Liverpool's parade. I think they're parading next week. Can't remember when their parade is, but they've said that their parade will celebrate their trophies, whatever it is that will end up being, and the women's success as well. And I think what's really nice about that is that they're celebrating their women going from the championship into the Super League, and that's
Like on lower,
accepting
yeah,
exactly. So that's an acceptance that their women's team was at a lower league initially, and they've now gone up. And it's amazing that
yeah.
they're combining the parade and they're really celebrating together while still having that separate identity as the men's and the women's team.
And I think it's great because that will raise questions to like, so there'll have been kids at Man City and there'll be kids at the Liverpool one that go, oh, well, what's that trophy? And then they'll love it. They'll be like, oh, the girls win trophies too. Like questions like that. Like we took the
Exactly.
kids to the football the other day and the boys team won the trophy. The girls came second. But the boys were watching the girls in the last match and they're like, come on, girls, we want you to win like us. And it was
Yeah.
like, it was amazing because they weren't like, oh, the girls are playing. They
Yeah.
loved it. They were like, oh, the girls are doing the same as us and they're doing this and it just gets those conversations going. And I think where the women's Euros has fallen down is, I was reading on Twitter, you're trying to encourage more young girls, especially, to
Mm.
go and watch football, which usually people want the shirt. The
Yeah.
shirt is £75 for young children.
Yeah.
What is like? I know it is for the men's teams, but people are going to buy them. I hold my hands up. I buy a City shirt every season. I
Yeah.
pay like £90. I can't lie, but I just do it. Like, do you know what I mean? But like for the women's especially, you know that we're trying to get the game going. You know
Mm.
that we're trying to encourage more people. The way to encourage people is not by making a shirt £75.
Yeah.
It's
it is shocking and it is ridiculous. Again, men's shirts cost an absolute fortune. We know that. And what will happen by them even advertising this shirt? The adult one is it's those ridiculous prices, £90 and 100 and whatever for the player shirt.
yeah,
People are going to look at that and they're going to go, but women's football isn't as big as men's football. So why am I going to pay? Why am I going to pay like £100 to buy a shirt for something I don't watch very often, something that I know hasn't got huge endorsement and whatever, and yet they're still
yeah,
expecting me to pay a premium price? And
yeah,
that's where it falls down, and that's where you get the horrible comments and the people arguing over, what do they think they're doing, and so on. And actually, that's all just down to greed, and that's down to the shirts, the shirt maker, which is Nike, and they're
classic.
just treating it as a shirt. It's a tournament, and we're going to charge what we want for it. The
Yeah,
problem is with that, and this isn't to disrespect the women's team, the England team, the shirt isn't going to sell like the
no,
England's men's shirt because we know that women's football isn't as big. And then we're going to see them in the sale, and then people are going to go, oh, you see? So it creates a vicious
it yeah,
cycle.
it keeps the separation. And I know it's going to sound weird because people will go, well, you should want the shirts to be the same price because you want the men's and women's, but it actually keeps the separation, like you said,
Yeah,
because people won't buy it because they might have, if it was 20 quid, you might have people go, do you know
yeah,
what? Let's get an England shirt. Let's get behind it. But people won't buy it, like you said. It will end up in the sale. Then you get the horrible comments. Then, and it will just keep it going because there was a woman that commented, oh, my two daughters really wanted to support the Lionesses, really wanted
yeah.
shirts. I can't afford two £75 shirts
No.
because, and the thing is, for the men's Euros, World Cup is at Christmas time. Weird. But their shirts will sell. People will buy them.
The other thing is
And
that we're at the beginning. The women's Euros come at the end of the current the current football season, and at the beginning of the next season.
the next, yeah,
People, all the shirts of the big teams are now out. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them are out and they're
most
starting
of
to be
home shirts,
available
yeah.
to buy. People invest at the beginning of the season in their team shirt. And that means that if they've got a choice to make, so they might have loved the women's Euros, but if they've got a choice to make, if we're honest, And I don't know, and I'll ask you, Samara, if your choice was between your Man City shirt that you're going to wear to all your matches that you're going to go to,
And the
and the
women's
women's
games.
Euro shirt, which is the
Yeah.
same price, what are you going to go for?
I'm gonna be honest, I will go for the City shirt because I'm gonna
And
wear
that's the
it.
choice that people will be
I'm gonna
in.
wear it every weekend. I'm gonna wear it to the women's games because it's the same shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm actually gonna get more use out of it. Yeah, and that's what everyone's gonna do. No matter how much you love women's people that just love women's football, fair enough. They might,
Yeah.
but still, they might not buy it because if you're a Man City, just a Man City women's fan, and you have to choose between your Man City shirt, which it will be the same price because you just buy it from the club shop,
Yeah.
or the Lionesses shirt, they're probably still gonna pick the Man City shirt because you're gonna
Exactly. So
wear it
there's
more, aren't you?
choices, and that's what, and these are the things that we will hear over and over and over and over again. And it
Yeah,
isn't fair because the England men's shirt, people would probably buy it more, but it's a bigger thing, and maybe people are willing to invest a bit more. And as you said, the World Cup is around Christmas time, so there's that going on there. So it's a really really difficult one. Rich, I actually had this on my list to talk about. That's right. So Palace this year have got their men and women sponsored. The shirt sponsor is the same company, which is really exciting. And what particularly excited me about the announcement today was that it was announced on their socials, and they actually specifically said both the men and women's shirts will be sponsored by
nice. I
Think.
like that.
Last year they had different sponsors, and I have it on
Oh,
very
right,
good
okay.
authority that the women's kit will also be available in the club stores as well at Crystal Palace. So that's a first for them, and it's really, really exciting because
Yes.
it's showing that they're going in the right direction. Um, shall we
We are getting there. That's the thing. We're getting there in some respects, but then falling down so massively
in
in
others?
others.
I know. Brush, you're
Yeah.
right. Yep, you could have your shirt would go on for a couple of seasons. The problem with the
Is it?
women's, you
What
yeah, they used to have you'd have the same
what
shirt
club
for a
is
few
it?
seasons. In the
What club is
past,
it?
it's not done anymore.
Does
Some
no, I'm
do,
sure there's a club this
some
season or
do.
last
Who've
season.
kept the same shirt.
Which
Yeah.
shirt is it? Brentford?
I don't know, but I know a lot of the lower league clubs do it as
Yeah.
well.
There's a club in the Premier League or Championship that's done it, and I think it might have been Brentford, and they've done it because they said it's ridiculous. But I wish they all did that. I can't lie.
Well, they used to. You'd have the same shirt for seasons on for several seasons, not
Yeah.
just for one season. I'm sure
I
Liverpool
don't
back
know.
years ago, late 70s, 80s, early 80s, had the same shirt for a number of years, and it meant that you'd have your one shirt and that's it. And also in a way, I think it solidifies the identity of the team and the brand because you'll look at that shirt
Yeah.
and you're like, oh yeah, that's Liverpool, that's City, that's Brentford,
Yeah,
that's Crystal
you know
Palace.
who it is.
And sometimes the shirts look so different year on year. You're a bit like, whoa, what is this? So
Yeah.
it'd
Who
be
are
great.
they?
Yeah, who are you? It'd be great to
Um, I
see
liked
that
when
happen more.
Man City did their shirt reveal for their home shirt. They had men's and women's players modelling it together. I liked
Yeah,
that as
that's
well.
really
I thought
nice.
that was dead good.
Yeah, and a lot of the Prem teams are doing that. I really hope that Crystal Palace do that. I think that would make me really, really happy to
It's
see
little things like
Palace
that
do that.
that are super, super important to me. It's
Yeah,
like I kept showing you, didn't I, the pictures like when it was the FA, when it was City were playing West Ham in the league and the women were at the FA Cup, and the promo picture was the men and the women together. It's
yeah,
little things like that that
it is.
a little girl would see who maybe plays football with a load of boys and goes, oh, I'm just as good as the boys.
Yeah,
I'm on there too.
and that's where it starts. So, and I think we're getting more of that now. So, young children are seeing, so young kids this year. So, if we say, I don't know, a really critical age of say 6, 7, if they see the women's Euros, to them that will be very normal. So, when the Euros
Yeah,
comes around again, the women's Euros, it won't be like, oh, women's Euros. It will be, oh, it's the women's Euros. And if they see women's football on TV, it will be a perfectly normal thing for them. It won't be
yeah,
a surprise. It won't be an, oh gosh, what's going on. So I do think if we could encourage as much viewing of the women's game in younger age groups, that's where the
Yeah.
change is going to happen. And before you know it, those 6, 7 year olds, they're going to reach their teenage years and it's going to be a perfectly normal thing. And they will want to go and watch women's football or men's football. And I think some of them will actually become women's football fans. So they're actually fans of women's football and the men's game might not be that important to them. And so I think that's the kind of things that we will see happening, and hopefully the Euros will do that. Because again, as I
Yeah.
said, I do think there's differences between the men's and the women's games, and you might have a preference of one over the other. So it'd be amazing to start seeing people saying that they're fans of women's football, and that I watch, like now when people go, oh yeah, I love football,
Yeah.
and they don't
But
call
the
it
other way
men's
around.
football, they call it football. I love football. I watch the odd women's game, but it'd be great to start hearing people going, I love football and I watch the odd men's game. So it's that
Yeah,
kind of
that'd be epic.
cultural shift that we want. And it's not to take away from the men's game at all. At all. I mean, both me and Samara are huge football fans. So we don't want
Yeah.
it to be that suddenly we don't hear of men's football
No.
anymore. That's not the idea. But the idea is that they're sitting side by side and we
Yeah.
are treating them equally. And by equally, we don't
That's all we
mean
want. Yeah.
they're identical, but we're saying equal respect. That's what we're talking about.
I love that comment. It's so true. England get knocked out everywhere. I love. I
Yeah.
just. Hopefully not the Lionesses though.
We'll see. I don't know. I
They'll be
mean,
fine.
how good are the Lionesses compared to the other women's teams, women's countries?
The Lionesses is an ever changing. So we've got that new manager in, and Steph Horton's now been replaced as captain. I think the Lionesses is a developing squad, and I think
Mm,
this is the strongest Lionesses team we've had for a while.
mm.
Obviously, when Steph Horton was captain, it was quite strong then, but I think this team, I think, has what it takes to go quite far in the women's Euros. But I think compared to other teams, I think we maybe need a few more seasons, a few more years.
Yeah, a bit
But
more time.
watch us win it now.
Well,
So
and
I
also
agree with
just
that
give
as
them a bit,
well.
give them that exposure.
Yeah, and I think obviously we've got a new captain in. There's still not that one set goalkeeper. So you've
Mm,
got Ellie Roebuck Hannah-Hampton and I don't want to call her Mary. She's called Mary, isn't she? Mary Earps. What's she called?
not
She's
sure.
called Mary now.
Oh,
But
Mary. It turned out her name's something
she's
completely different, Barbara or
it's
something, and you're
Earps.
like
Her
Mary.
last name's Earps, but I'm sure it's Mary. What about she's not called Mary? I've said Mary so many times now. She's got to be called Mary.
Just call her by her
But you've got
surname.
that. Yeah, you've not got a set starting keeper yet.
Mm.
And it's just things like that. You've got a new captain. You've not got a set starting keeper. Have you actually got this starting lineup? I don't think we're as polished as other teams, but I think because it's in England, I think that will carry us.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's going to make a lot of difference. And I love comments like that. If there's football on, I'll watch it.
Gonna
I'm not
watch
bothered
it.
who's playing.
That's what we want people to think, though. To just think there's football on. Gonna watch it. It's good.
It's
It's good.
literally that simple. It is that simple. And I agree. Yeah, we need more access. Show it more and it'll grow. This is where it
Exactly.
starts. And this is the thing that annoys me the most. If you can put all those men's games on TV, you can also put the women's games on.
Yeah.
It's so many people have Red Button, have Sky, have this, have that, and the other. The
Exactly.
more you show it, that's how it grows. You can't just say, oh, it has no fans, it's stuck like this. You need to show it. There was a time when, like, Coronation Street was started out with 10 fans. We kept putting it on TV, and now look at it. Do you know?
Oh
Probably a really bad
God.
example, but you know what I mean? Like,
No,
the
I
more you
know.
show things,
Exactly.
the
It's like if
more
I
it grows.
invented a new game, I'm not going to expect like a million people to be following it straight away. That's how it
I
is.
would.
Oh, yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
My one fan would be watching always.
Yeah. France have a
Um,
very strong team. It's going to be interesting, and we're going to hope to follow and bring you some Euros action.
yes, we are going to be doing some Euroing, which would be really,
Maria's in
really good.
charge. of the timetable and schedule.
Yes, so far the schedule looks like this. Blank. I will get onto the schedule. We will be having a schedule of all sorts of exciting things. Actually, hopefully we'll have some loads of people interested and watching and excited by it all. And I agree. I think it was Brush that said the last 2 weeks of WSL was really exciting, and it will be like that with the Euros. We all know those qualifying rounds. You know, those early rounds, they kind of go on for a bit. After that, it's just full on excitement, and we'll be bringing it and
Yeah.
talking all about it.
WSL though, the WSL is one of the most exciting leagues, and people need
Really
to just get
exciting.
over themselves and watch it because
I know. How
it's
do people
mad.
complain about the lack of goals in Premier League games? I mean, to be honest, I do think this season there's been loads of goals. See what? Right, so I've got a bone to pick with people, right? They go on and on about how many goals are scored in the women's game, and that somehow equates to it meaning it's not good quality football being played. When Manchester City bang in 6 goals, 5 goals, 10 goals, 100 goals, does anyone
I
go,
wish
oh God,
next
City?
season, next season, next
Does
season.
anyone go, oh, City, they're so rubbish. They scored 5 goals today. I mean, what a nonsense argument.
No,
It's the most
no,
ridiculous thing
yeah,
I've ever heard. If you want to think, we go to watch football. I don't know about you. When you watch a football game, Samara, if there isn't a goal, do you feel let down when you're there, especially? If it's on the telly, I don't care. I'm watching it on TV, I'm not there. If you're at an actual physical football game and you don't see a goal and you don't get to celebrate, how flat and boring is that? And yet people complain that there's 5, 6 goals in the women's game.
yeah. No,
What are we
literally,
talking about?
literally. Like if it's a 0-0, you come away thinking. Sometimes I have come away thinking I drive back to Preston now. I could have just stayed in Preston. Why
Yeah,
have I driven this far?
to
And
see
like
nothing
Stephanie said, it's
happen.
ridiculous. Yeah, and I went to the women's game. We banged like 6 goals in. I was like, this is why. Like
That's what we
people
want
saying,
to
oh,
see.
it's because the teams are rubbish. But
It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense.
you
It's
can't
like,
have everything you want.
yeah,
Like,
it's
and if you
ah,
watch it
it's
more, the investment will be more. So then the teams that are actually rubbish won't actually be as rubbish, and then your argument is destroyed.
and then you can be excited by having just 1 goal every game instead. And then they'll be like, oh, it's so boring. Nothing ever happens. It's a no-win situation. But hopefully, as we've said, the Euros will go some way in overcoming some of that. And I have to say, some of the European teams, I don't know about national teams, I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched extensive women's national games, but certainly European
Yeah,
European league teams are incredible. And I would say some of them very much, if you're looking for a fast paced game, like people go on about with the men's game, you see that in Europe. And I think the Euros will open people's eyes to the
yeah,
excitement of women's football. And actually, if you're just watching it, you forget about the fact that it's women anyway. You're just watching a football game. As Brush said, it's football and they're playing.
literally. It's as
So,
simple as that, though. And people saying, "Oh, it's not the same as the men's game." Right? Look at a man and a woman; they're not the same. Like
yeah,
in
they're not going to
dancing,
do the
I
same
teach
thing.
I teach ballet, so it's all the same from about 3 years old to about 9 or 10. Then when they become 9 or 10, you suddenly have exercise. So, like, say, demi plies, bending your knees. It'll be girls' version and boys' version because
Yeah.
suddenly it starts to go like this, but it's
And
all
our bodies
ballet.
are different. Yeah,
But because of the
exactly.
development of the bodies, it's different. But no, not one person sits in a ballet and goes, "Oh, I hate the bit where the girls come on. I hate the bit where the boys come on," because
Yeah.
it's obvious that they're not. They don't. They can't. Their bodies can't do the same things.
And I think that's where the issue is, where there's a real big misunderstanding of people saying they want, of women saying they want equality in the sport. They're not saying they want to be like men. And we've said this
Yeah.
before. They're talking about equal respect, equality in the sense of it not being spoken down on, not people kind of ridiculing it because it's women. So it's about respecting the women's game just as you would respect the men's game. It's not about women taking over or anything like that. And I've seen quite a lot this week on Twitter with male football fans complaining that women are trying to take over football. They're not. They just want to be part of it with you and be allowed to be there and enjoy it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what we mean. Hello, CM.
Choking. Oh, that's
You
really
can. What I
kind.
think. Was that about Palace Women's? What was that comment?
What's
Go
this
back to that
new
a
heart
minute.
thing that all the kids are doing? This new heart thing.
Is there a new heart thing? What? That's not new.
Yeah.
You've not seen that before.
No, it's like this with your fingers.
Oh, I don't know.
It's
That
weird.
is.
It's
This
not this anymore.
newfangled young people stuff. I don't know what that is. Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
but
I'm so
honestly,
glad to
I've
have
got
Samara back.
so much love for Maria for like, because like one night she went, I'm not doing it, and it was like, not doing it again. I can't do it. And like I've been like that with everything, and she's been the best.
Oh.
And I did
you.
get halfway through my notes, but then we got carried away.
Oh, we'll get back to them in a minute because there's only a couple of other little things. I just want to say, I think it was Steffi said she doesn't feel she knows enough to be able to come on the channel and speak. Steffi, we don't know anything. The whole point of the show is just to talk about what we think about football. It's not about deep knowledge or anything like that. So it's just about women and football. So, you know, we welcome anyone on. And actually, the past few weeks, we've had CM was on, we've had Rich on, and they also said the same thing. Don't know anything about women's football. You don't need to. Just chatting it through.
We don't.
And understand. We don't. We just read a bit before we come on. What do we know?
We read off BBC Football News.
Think. Yeah, I can't even see it because I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm no good. I just bounce off what I'm told. But seriously, I think what's really nice is people saying that they watch the show and they learn lots about it. And I hope that what people are learning, you know, it's not about the intricacies of football, because everyone who tunes in and everyone who watches, and us as well, we love football and we know what football's about. It's just about getting people understanding a little bit more about the women's game and a little bit more about why it's different and a little bit more about what needs to happen to move it forward. So hopefully that's what people are getting, and the debate that goes on in the comments is always fantastic. Exactly. We're learning every day, week and month, the same, absolutely the same. So, you know, anyone who would like to come on, we are more than happy to have you on. And during the Euros, come on, we don't know, as we've just said, we don't know a huge amount about the other teams that are playing. It'd be amazing to have people on and just be telling us, you know, this is what I found out this week. This is what I thought was exciting. Doesn't have to be. We never talk about we don't do, you know, like you get the watch alongs where people are talking about the positions and the formations and this. We don't care. We're talking about the game, the match, the excitement. That's what we want to talk about. And there's a whole bunch of people that are interested in that. And that's hopefully who we're appealing to. So if you're interested, come on the show.
We're still learning as well. Like, there's always new stuff to learn. New stuff. Like in the Euros, like Maria said, we'll learn so much about the other national teams.
Yeah.
So
we should do like a competition. Quizzes about the teams, learning their national anthems.
So tell me about Spain.
It's Spanish.
It's Spanish.
Let's loop back to our
they play Spanish women's football. That's what I know.
Most of the members of the team are from Spain
Spanish.
or have some kind of connection to Spain through their ancestry. We should theme each show. So you know how like we go on about pie. Well, I go on about pies. If it's like Spanish, what an idiot.
We should do food.
Spanish
oh my god.
Teams. What am I trying to say? Exactly. We have the food of the other country that's playing. So we have like a paella or I don't know, whatever.
Spanish.
Spanish. Well, it is. I don't know. I have to say, I've never even been to Spain. I think I'm one of the few people in England that's never been to Spain.
I've been to Benidorm. Oh, yeah.
You know how to live. So, looping back to what we were talking about at the beginning, very quickly, just to round off what's been going on with the season. So Samara went through the winners of
I only
the
got
we talked about
WSL done.
You got WSL done. We did talk about it a little bit a couple of shows ago as well, so we don't need to go into massive detail. But Liverpool obviously are coming up into WSL.
Ooh.
Yay. And Birmingham are going down, as we said before, in the women's league, because there's so few teams, not so few teams, because it's a smaller league, it's one up, one down, no playoffs. Be awesome to have playoffs at some point if they could introduce that.
It was Man City that relegated Birmingham as well.
Outrageous. Man City have got a lot to answer for. Not gonna lie.
I was at that game.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? We also had, and then we had the Players of the Year announced yesterday. So Sam Kerr won WSL Player of the Year.
She is just
well deserved, incredible. She's
incredible.
A goal machine, goal machine. And Emma Hayes, Manager of the Year, Super League Manager of the Year, which is absolutely fantastic. What I was going to touch on, if it's all right with you, Samara, you just spoke earlier about how you're feeling a bit not too great, and that's why you didn't come on the show for a little bit. I saw a brilliant thing on the news today, and it was about QPR, the men's team. Actually, I don't know if it was just the men's team. I don't know. But anyway, QPR is near Grenfell Tower, where the Grenfell disaster happened. And they have been offering football games, a tournament, football for residents to watch to help them with their mental health. And I thought that was such a brilliant thing to do, and how football teams do so much for their communities. And it was Mental Health Awareness Week a couple of weeks ago. And I just thought, football doesn't get some of the kudos it deserves with some of the things that they do in the community. And a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Palace Player Awards, and they've got awards for community champions, and they had one for a male player, one for a female player. And some of the stuff they go out and do in their community is absolutely incredible. And they help kids who were sort of slightly going off the rails. They help people again with their mental health. And I think it's really lovely to view. Sometimes we hear all the bad stuff about football, with hooligans and abuse and this and that. But there's so much great stuff that goes on around football. And for me, when it was Mental Health Awareness Week, I put up a thing on my Facebook and on Instagram saying how, like this year, for various reasons, which some people will know that are on the chat at the moment, it's been a really tough year. And actually going to football matches and being involved in this kind of thing and all the stuff around football, and I'm not just about the game and winning, I'm talking about the general atmosphere, the togetherness of everyone once you're there, how it really helped me to be able to get through weeks and have something to look forward to at the end of the week. And I think we really need to celebrate football and the positives that it brings. And it's really, really important. So much incredible stuff going on in their communities. And I just wanted to kind of big up QPR for what they've been doing for the Grenfell residents and the surrounding community, because it was brilliant. There were people on just talking about how it's really helped them and given them something to live for. And I think we sometimes forget that side of football.
Yeah, definitely. All we hear about is, like you said, the negative side of. So obviously this week recently with the men's team, it's been like the pitch invasions and things not going right. But you also, there was a video, I don't know if anyone saw, of this City fan taking his granddad to the game.
Oh, it was lovely.
Yeah,
so nice.
And it's just like, this is what football can do. So my friend Maddie, she won't mind me saying, lost her mum this season, and she was on the pitch obviously on Sunday celebrating, and in that moment she was so happy. And it's just like football can do so much for you.
Absolutely.
And like you said, sometimes gets forgotten, so we need to like praise it. because it can do. And it was Chloe Kelly, I think, that plays for Man City, did a really good article about how her mental health was knocked because she had an injury, and how training and the team and the support has got her through it. And it's just it's so amazing. And I think especially like in the lockdowns and stuff, football, when it came back, even though it's behind closed doors, being able to think, I'm going to sit and watch a game.
Football, I thought, brought everyone together. It was, I just remember the excitement. That was the first time I'd actually paid for a Sky subscription so that we could watch football through lockdown.
Yeah.
And it was incredible because we had to watch all the matches, and it was something that brought us all together, and we'd sit there and, it was like, oh, should we have crowd sounds on or crowd sounds off, and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. And it really, really brought us together as a family and gave us something to do and really look forward to. So there was this kind of spine tingling excitement that a little bit of normal life was still going on in those stadiums. And, I do think that this season we've kind of forgotten a little bit about how the beginning of the season was really exciting. It was like, oh my God, I'm in a football stadium again. It's really exciting. I'm surrounded by people. And we've got to the end and we've kind of forgotten that a little bit. I think we need to just remember what was going on. This time last year, we still weren't there. So it's brilliant how far we've come and how it really, really helps people.
And for me, because I've been really struggling with my mental health, that's why I've not been on. Going to the women's game was the best thing that I could do. I've not been to a lot of the men's Man City games at home because it was too much. I went to the last game of the season, didn't go on the pitch because I was like, this is too much. But I went to the women's game, and because it was quieter and calmer, and everyone smiled and everyone was just so kind and welcoming, it was the best. For 90 minutes, I was like zoned out of everything that was going on, and it was so good. And that's where I think women's football, for people that do have anxiety and are maybe trying to go, even people that are still anxious because from COVID that are now starting to go out again, going to a women's game is actually the best place to start.
Definitely, 100% agree with that. And people who've maybe been to men's matches and felt intimidated or put off by them, go to the women's. Completely different atmosphere, different chance, different feeling about it. I don't know what it's like at Man City, but certainly I go to Palace matches. It feels more like a family event. It's more of a day out, and they've got like a restaurant that you can actually go and sit in, and you can just enjoy the day. And you get to meet the players at the end and take pictures with them, and that's guaranteed every game. And I just think it's a lovely, lovely atmosphere, and it's somewhere where certainly I'd be happier to take young children to, because as we know at men's matches, you can't, even in the family stands, because people just buy tickets because they want tickets. You can't guarantee what language they're going to hear, what behaviour they're going to see. And as I've said before, we're not trying to stop people enjoying themselves at football matches. Obviously, we don't want any sexist, unpleasant abuse, any abuse going on. But we also know that passions and emotions run high, and language at football matches is sometimes very, very unpleasant. And I know my son is 16, I don't like him hearing that language, let alone little kids who are there. And that's part of it as well, is little kids seeing how the adults behave at matches, because that will decide how they behave at matches in the future as well. So women's matches, calmer, nice atmosphere. I don't mean nicer, it's not that it's nicer, different atmosphere. And definitely, if you're going through something and want just to take your mind off something for a little bit, go and watch a women's match. It's less intense than men's matches.
And it's unique as well, because I think the fans that are at women's games love it because they just love it for what it is. They don't want any more. Obviously the investment and more fans would be great, but everyone's just so happy there. And you've still got the football atmosphere, but it's just so much calmer, and it's just great. And thank you very much for your lovely comments. I won't do the freaky heart thing, because you need to find out what it is. Someone,
I don't know
please
what it is.
Teach me. The kids at
You need
dancing
to ask
keep
the
doing
kids
it
at your school.
And it's like comments from like you guys on here, like that gorgeous comment, and all the comments that you've given to me, especially tonight, just shows how football can bring people together.
Just
Doesn't
an
have to
amazing
be negative.
community. Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's just go to the last comment. Oh,
I
are
keep
we
clicking
both
at the
pressing
same
the
time as
button at the
you.
same time?
Yeah.
See, we've become brave. Normally, like, I never click on the comments. I'm too scared. And now we're just fighting over who gets
No, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
I'm sure you guys saw the Gran who hit the Palace. Yes. Yeah. Do you
I've
know
not
what?
seen this.
I
Why have I
was
not
really
seen this?
annoyed by this because people were kind of laughing at it, which, all right. Yeah, there's an element of humor
I've just
to
laughed
it.
at Rich's comment, sorry.
But again, this is where we have to also be careful of what we're laughing at and what we're accepting. If we're laughing at an old woman slapping a young male player's backside and we think that's funny, then unfortunately it means that if a old man does that to a female player, then we're saying that's acceptable and funny as well. And we need to stop doing that. So that's where we need to be very, very careful. And again, when this is where I spoke about equality and respect, it's about being respectful, and it's about us being careful over our language and what we are sharing and laughing about, because we just that would not be acceptable if it was the other way around. And it was completely overlooked. And I think people continue to laugh at it because it was an old lady slapping a young man's bum.
And it's
basically.
the same with, I don't know if many of you are on football Twitter, but Astrid, who is a Chelsea fan and also a sex worker, she got slapped on the arse, and everyone in the comments was like, you deserve it, it's your job, blah, 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 blah. And it's just not. If you see people sharing things like that, it's not okay, because you're saying that that's okay then for them to slap your sister or any other woman. It doesn't matter what people do. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if it's a grand slapping a young lad. It's just, none of it is okay at all.
I love Steffi's comment. Yes, football definitely helps with mental health, but her club didn't this season. Yeah, we also know it can completely destroy things for you as well. But generally, the overall atmosphere and all of that is fantastic.
It's Manchester United, that, isn't it? Manchester United made my mental health better. Oh, Rich.
We need to get Rich on to have a go. I'm not even going to try it. I don't even know what it is. I've never even seen it before.
It's like this thing.
Yeah, Mateta Army, the Anderson bum slap thing was just weird. Again, I really stress that if that was the other way around, that would have been just outed as completely outrageous.
100% brush. This is what me and Maria have been having a massive debate about. It makes no difference what people do, what job they do.
Do it. The end. No. You don't do it.
Steffi knows. She knows. Honestly, all I was bothered about final day of the season was if Man United won or not, and they didn't, so I was happy.
That's cool.
And if anyone can do this,
I don't even know what it is. Someone find me a picture of this thing. What is it meant to be? Is it like a?
It's a heart.
Do you do it at the same time?
That's not it. Is it this? It might be this.
But what's the point of it? What is it?
It's instead of this.
But why?
This is not cool. This is not cool, apparently. I got told.
I never used to do that anyway.
It's like...
It looks like that thing. When I was little, there used to be this thing about this is a church and this is a steeple. I don't even know. It was like
oh my god, yeah. Open the door and see all the people.
How does it go? I don't even know. This is a church.
This is a steeple. This is the steeple. Open the door. And...
Well, this is going down.
Oh, it might be. It was like that. What was that thing? There's a Deli Alley thing that I couldn't do. That thing.
Maybe it's just that they don't know what they're doing because they're just a bit. No. Let's not go down that road.
And there was I can't do the Laporte celebration. This thing.
What are you doing?
Have you seen Laporte celebrate? Are you like?
What does it mean? I don't know. Oh, let's have a look. Swear
if
the Heart was Bell celebration from a few years ago. So there you go. Apparently it is a Gareth Bale thing. But how do you do it? How'd you do it? Beat me to it. Yeah, someone said it.
It's on TikTok apparently.
Maybe
That's everyone's homework is to go on
start
TikTok
doing some
and learn.
TikTok stuff. Us trying to replicate.
Maybe we should do a women's football review TikTok. We're gonna make a TikTok for women's football review.
That'd be so funny. Do we get to have that stupid voice over the top? Here's 5 things you don't know about football. What is that? Like, why is that voice?
Oh my god, shall we actually?
Crouchy's robot. The robot's brilliant. Oh dear.
Haaland celebrations. We'll all see them next season.
Oh, I would love it. This sounds so horrible. I don't mean it, but I do. I'd love it if Haaland's really rubbish in the Prem. Like, he's just not a Prem player.
Chance.
That'd be hilarious. He comes and he can't do it. Are you going to sing his song? Haaland.
Yeah, my mum's already started singing it. Do you know what's going to be bad? I think he's going to be really corrupted by Jack Grealish and Phil Foden.
In what way?
I think they're gonna destroy him.
He'll
be out clubbing with them. Because he likes a drink, doesn't he?
So there you go. He's going to crash and burn in the Premier League.
Imagine if we're really rubbish and we get relegated. No.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be absolutely hilarious.
Are
we still fighting again? Stop it! I'm trying to be helpful. Stop clicking. You do it. Alvarez.
I do like him. I think he's gonna be brilliant.
We will see. We're having trouble tonight. Click it.
No, people, you're just jealous.
Stephanie.
And then Man City women.
It's not jealousy.
Yeah, no,
it's just that we've seen these things happen before. You know, when they really hype up a player and it just goes wrong.
It's always us as well. Brush gets it. He gets it.
You don't know, Brush. We don't know until it happens. You'd love either on loan. What, Haaland?
Imagine if he's rubbish and they loan him out to Crystal Palace.
If he's rubbish, he's not going Palace, is he? He'll be off to... I don't know.
To be fair, I did say to Rich that even he won't score against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park on a rainy night. Even he won't make it. He won't make it there.
When are you going to come down? You have to come down to Palace.
Next season.
Come and see what it's like to go to a match with atmosphere and excitement and fans. Moving on. Hannah. We're doing it. I'm not touching it anymore. You do it. Look, my hands are here.
When I get my shirt with my gold badge, I'm gonna wear it on here and just stand sit like this all the time.
They remove it after a little while anyway. It's not there very long. Oh dear. Right. I think on that.
I feel personally victimized right now. You were all loving me at first, and then I started speaking.
I know, they're all like, oh, you know, if you need to talk, and then it's just abuse. You need to talk, but we hate your team and we hope they fail. But we love you, really. I don't know what that is. I can't even do it. Watch out for the TikToks on our goal celebrations.
I'm actually going to make a TikTok for us.
That would be very interesting. I don't even know what to put on them. I just want that silly voice. 5 ways to watch women's football.
Oh my gosh, actually do it. Right, guys, look out for
you set it up.
Look out for our.
And we'll do it.
Look out for our Euros schedule.
Yes, there will be a Euro schedule. We'll do a preview of the teams as well. Do you know what I'm going to do? This sounds so sad. I'm going to buy. I think this is really exciting that there's a women's Euro sticker book.
Is there actually?
Yeah, you know, with the like the Premier League one and the stuff.
I'm too lazy.
Yeah, but that means I can learn little things about the players and know who they are and stuff. So that's my task. If anyone knows where I can buy one from, because I haven't seen one, but I have seen them on Twitter, then that's what I want. Send me a sticker book, someone. Okay. Send me a sticker book. Isn't that what people do on these channels? You say things like, send me a pizza, and someone sends you a pizza.
Oh my God, it's actually weird. Okay, send me £1 million.
I knew you were going to say that. I just want a sticker book. This is the difference here, people, between myself and Samara. I'm like happy with a humble sticker book, which you can probably get for free if you buy the stickers. And Samara's like, send me £1 million. However, if there is someone out there with a couple of mil to spare and they wanted to send it, I'm happy to split that with Samara. Plus, I still want the sticker book. So if anyone can get a sticker book to me, DM. And there's a pledge of £1 million. Don't know if that means it's going to come though.
It's my celebration.
Anyone can get me a sticker book, get in touch because I want a sticker book. Oh, and at some point we're going to be doing a really cool giveaway on Eagle Eyed Football actually for Crystal Palace fans. So keep your eyes peeled.
I could do one celebration from the Women's Euros. Oh, sorry. I could do Ellen White's because she just does this.
Oh. Good one. That's a good one. Lovely. Right. So I've got a sticker book apparently, and we'll wait on the £1 million.
Thank you guys for.
I'm sure you'll never see Samara again, guys. She'll be off like sipping cocktails in the Bahamas, and I'll be here doing the women's football review. Thank you so much, everyone. Samara,
thank you guys.
We will be back hopefully very soon with our preview. Maybe we could do a country a week and we can do something a bit fun with it. That's not enough weeks before the Euros. We'll pick a few countries and we can do have a bit of fun with it. We can have a little bit of a quiz with our viewers, listeners.
Well, on that note,
we are.
I'm leaving.
Sayonara.
Thank you guys.
Bye, everyone.
I can't remember what to do. Okay, no, I can
Switch
do it.
off.
I can do it.
We go to end broadcast. No, where's our outro? We're so professional.
I got it.
Bye-bye.